Welcome back to Man vs. Meeple, the show where we talk about all things board game related. Today we have a Kickstarter preview for Horizons. This one's from Daily Magic Games, and it is a 4X-ish style of game. Definitely a streamlined experience in that variety of game for sure.
Yeah, so each player is a starfaring race. They're going out to the galaxy. They're colonizing planets in order to gain victory points and complete missions that they've collected through the course of the game. They're going to be using allies in order to modify those different types of actions that they can take. Each player has a player board in front of them. Now, I'll note that this is a prototype version. On the Kickstarter page, you're going to see upgraded components.
Yeah, it's definitely been upgraded. The player boards have like these cool puzzle pieces that fit together to show what planets you've colonized.
Yeah, a lot of the missions too will have more artwork on them as well. So let's talk about the player boards. Across the top you have the 6 different types of planets that are in the game. Each of these planets are represented by a double-sided tile that has 2 different planets on them. When a player draws one of these, they're allowed to pick which one they wish to use at that particular time. Also, each of the planets has a very particular type of structure that they can build on them. Some of them don't have or can't allow very specific type of structures to be built. Structures. You have 3 different types of structures. You have colonies, you have metal collectors or ore collectors, and then you have energy collectors. You'll note that on these planet tiles, there's 3 different locations, so each planet can hold up to 3 different types of structures on them, whether they be yours or other players or a mix of them.
Right, and these are very important because obviously the metal collectors and the energy collectors are going to give you resources that then you can use to build more on other planets.
Right, and on the left-hand side, you have your 5 different actions. They're very simple. On a player's turn, they're allowed to take 2 actions, either 2 different actions or even 2 of the same particular
Feel
actions.
free to mix and match.
Yep. Also, a player's going to start with a cheat sheet with all the different icons, 1 ally that is similar for every single player. They're going to draw 2 random missions. These missions they're going to be trying to complete by the end of the game, but they are kept secret through the course of the game. And then each player has a star system. The star systems don't belong to any particular player. They're just going to be placed upon the center of the table. The number of star systems is, again, dependent upon the number of players. So we have 4-player game set up. We have 4 star systems. All right, to start the game, it's very simple. Starting in turn order, the first player going around the table is allowed to draw one of these tiles from the bag. When they draw that tile, they pick which one of the 2 planets they wish to colonize. Then they place it on any one of the star systems, and then they colonize that particular location. So if I choose to colonize this, I would take my cube and place it on the volcanic planet, meaning that I can then build structures on that through the course of the game. In turn order, players are going to draw one of the tiles and place it on a different star system, but the great thing here is that they can either use the one that they drew, or they can colonize one that was previously drawn, so they have some flexibility. In turn order there.
Yeah, your missions are probably going to guide you a little bit in that respect. Because you're going to want to, a lot of the missions revolve around colonize this many frozen planets or this many that. So if you draw something that doesn't match up, you might want to choose one of the other ones to inhabit.
Each player is also going to start with 2 ore, 2 metal, and 1 knowledge. These knowledge are victory points at the end of the game. All right, so turn order, it's so simple. On your turn, you get to take 2 actions. The very first action you could possibly take is to explore. Exploring is very simple. You simply take the bag, you draw a tile, you decide which way you wish it to face, and then you place it on any of the existing star systems. Now, each of the star systems can only hold 6 planets. Once it is full, you can't place any more planets in those locations. When you place the planet, you just add it to that star system orthogonally around the star, and then you get to take 1 knowledge or 1 victory point.
Yeah, and it should be noted, these star systems are going to basically just be surrounded by these new planets. The star systems aren't going to eventually grow and connect. These are basically just 4 distinct star systems for a 4-player game.
That's right.
The next thing you can do is adapt. This is almost as simple as exploring, with a little bit more. So when you adapt, you're simply going to activate one of the planet types on your player board, which will allow you to inhabit that planet and build on it. So you simply just move, on the prototype you move your cube, in the finished game you're going to add a puzzle piece to complete that planet. Then you can, if you want to, add an ally to your allies. Like Jeremy said, you start with one that's very similar to all players, but there are going to be 5 stacks of allies, and these allies are represented by the different actions. So when you use an ally, you're going to be able to use those allies when you take a specific type of action. So you're going to look at the pile of the action that you want, and either take the top ally, or if you don't like what that ally looks like, you can put them on the bottom of the stack and take the very next one and add it to your allies. You can only have 5 of those at any given time.
Right. Talking about allies a little bit more, when you look at an ally, they are double-sided. On one side and on the back side, they have the exact same action. When you use an ally, you can use 1 ally per action that you take. And then you can only use that ally if it corresponds to the action that you're taking. When you use it, you flip it over. The second time you use it, it goes to the bottom of the deck, or in some cases, especially the beginner cards, they can permanently get discarded from the game. These are a way to, again, to change the actions that you're taking or to modify them in some particular way, get more benefits from the actions that you're taking. The third thing you could possibly do is to build. Building is basically constructing on one of these different locations that you have colonized previously. So if I take a build action right now, you'll notice that the volcanic island is the only place that I can build out, because that's the only place I've colonized. And in this case, I can build either one of the 2 things here, either it being a ore or energy collector or a colony. And it tells you what you have to expend in order to do that. When you do that, you simply expend the resources and you place it on that type of planet as long as there's room to play it. Now, there's world sharing as well. Now, this is pretty cool. If a previous player has built something on this already, doesn't matter what type of structure, when you build on there, they will get 1 resource of their choice, either energy or metal.
Right.
If they have a second one on here, they would get 2 resources. Even if you build on your own planet or a planet you've previously built a structure, you will also get a resource.
Yeah, so it kind of gives you a little bit of an incentive to go in one direction anyway, is to spread out your colonies, spread out all your different structures, so that when other players are playing, that you're getting some resources along the way.
Next one's harvest.
Yeah, harvest is simple. And this is after you've put some ore collectors out, some energy collectors out, you activate the harvest action in order to collect all that energy and collect all that metal. So you're basically going to look out all of the ore collectors, all of the energy collectors, and take a corresponding resource for all of the ones that you have out on the board.
And it doesn't matter where they are. They don't all have to be into one star system. You collect for everything on the board.
Right.
Every single one of those structures. Also, remember, anytime during any of these actions, as long as you have a matching icon, you can use that ally. It's very important to collect allies and be able to modify your abilities. The last one is to conspire. Very simple action again. You either get to draw 2 mission cards and add them to your tableau, or draw 1 mission and 1 ally. Again, as David said previously, you can only have 5 allies, but you can also only have 5 missions.
Right.
So it's a good way to cycle those missions that you don't think you're going to be able to complete by the end of the game.
And what's interesting about the missions too is once you have 5, don't think you're stuck with those 5.
No.
Because some of the missions have synergies. So you might want to go and take that action again and cycle through, get a perfect hand of 5 mission cards that you know you're going to achieve.
Right. So how does the game end? At any time any player builds all 5 of their colonies upon the board, that signifies the end of the game, and it's a hard stop.
Right.
The game ends immediately right then. You're going to tally up victory points. Victory points are very simple. You get 1 victory point for every single knowledge that you've collected. You get victory points for any of the different missions that you have completed, and then you're going to look at each of the different star systems separately of one another. Not the planets, but the actual whole star system. The player that has the most colonization points on that will get 6 victory points. Second place will get 3. Now there's some tiebreakers in there as well. How do you control the system? Well, each colony that you have in a star system is worth 2 control points. And each collector, whether it be ore or energy, is worth 1 control point. So you're going to tally up all the control points you have in there to see whoever has the most.
You add up all those points.
Game over.
Game over.
We couldn't say this any better. It's a very streamlined 4X style of game.
Right.
It's quick to play. The actions are super fast because you're taking 2 actions. They're all located right here. You're going to be using these allies over and over to try to modify those to gain an advantage in some particular way. Now what's cool about the game too is that you can basically specialize in very particular planets. You're probably not going to be able to go through all the planets and get abilities through them, so you're going to be trying to pick the star systems where you control and then trying to hold on to control through the course of the game, because players are going to be adding locations in those particular areas.
There's definitely some synergies too between the planets and the types of things that you're building, because on the player board you'll see that the different planets and the different structures that they allow you to build, there's different costs for those. So you can build up some synergy so that if you got a lot of energy going, you're able to build a certain structure on a certain planet because it requires more energy and very little metal.
Yep. If you guys are interested in the game, back it on Kickstarter. If you have questions about the game, we've played it enough times to answer them for you.
Yes.
Please subscribe to us, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and everything else that we do here at Man vs. Meeple, and we will catch you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
This Kickstarter preview has been brought to you by Man vs. Meeple in sponsorship with Quartermaster Logistics. Take a look at all of their fulfillment solutions at qmlogistics.com.